Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Great Day SA this February 1st, 2024, and start of Black History Month.
That's right. We're thankful you could join us this morning. Roma, we are honoring Black History Month with a pretty neat story about two friends who did something very meaningful.
They sure did, Paul. They created a movie to remember the history that lives all throughout San Antonio's east side and surrounding areas, and I took a special walk with them.
If you've ever driven through Center Street and North Hackberry, you're in the heart of the East Side.
This is a St. Paul United Methodist Church. It is the oldest African-American church here in San Antonio.
But you're also passing by a monumental piece of Black history.
It was established in 1866, and really this became one of the cultural centers for the community, of course religious centers for the community. Many of our great leaders would come here to speak.
Aundar Maat is one of the filmmakers behind Walk on the River.
Heavenly in all of her ways, this river is flowing rich and sacredly throughout San Antonio.
A 2018 documentary about Black history in San Antonio and the community built here after the abolition of slavery.
So in this area, really you was looking at really a history hub per se. And this was a great opportunity for us to kind of think about all this information is here, but how can we share it with a larger community? And that's kind of spurred the idea of the film,
which has gained enough attention to kick off a tour detailing most of the historic sites mentioned in the film.
So we're going to point out this right here, this mural is called the Founding Mothers.
And one of the #1 questions we would get during Q&A would be, how can we see some of the locations and landmarks that you highlight in the film? So we got the idea that maybe we could start showing people through slides, and we thought about maybe presentations, and then it dawned upon us maybe we could do a whole tour from this. And so we put our first tour together in January of 2020 for Dream Week, 2019 for Dream Week. And it was a huge success. We sold out 2 trips, and we decided to just continue doing it.
I took part in a small portion of this tour. I learned a lot, and after speaking to the filmmakers, it's clear they did too.
One thing I learned about as far as segregation and well, first off, enslavement took place here in San Antonio. A lot of people don't realize that, but it wasn't as harsh as some of the other places because there were not cotton fields in San Antonio. Cotton doesn't grow very well here, so most of the people that were enslaved were domestic servants. So if you want to call it a lighter form of slavery, it wasn't as brutal as some other places.
Why was it important to note this building?
Well, one, because it's been preserved very well. VIA owns this building now. And this enclave was called Ellis Alley, which is referred to as the cradle of the East Side culture.
Born Logic Allah is the director of Walk on the River and says it's important to keep the East Side story alive.
Well, the East Side in San Antonio in general is changing so much that we want to make sure that the history is preserved. And a lot of these locations house a lot of our stories, especially because the East Side of San Antonio during segregation was primarily the black side of town. And so a lot of these buildings are being demolished, and we don't want the stories to go when the buildings are demolished.
Stories that took plenty of steps to complete, those same steps that we walk in parts of the city. Maybe that reminder might help you take the path of appreciation along the way.
If you'd like to participate in the next tour, well, you can this month. SA Black History Bus Tour is happening at Carver Library. That's where you guys will start. That's 3350 East Commerce Street, February 25th at 12 p.m. and at 3 p.m. For more information, visit Eventbrite. And thank you so much, Logic and Aundar, for what you did. I learned truly, Paul, so very much.
And you went on that shorter version.
Shorter version. Just we did 2 stops. We weren't on the actual bus, but I wanted to give y'all a glimpse of how meaningful this is.
Right, you learn a whole lot.
I did, Paul. So
That's
maybe
cool.
February 25th, if anyone's interested, make sure and check out that tour.
All right, sounds